The groom is already in the ground. At the altar, the bride holds a wooden tablet instead of his hand. This isn't folklore. In parts of China, families are actively arranging marriages for the dead. Sometimes two corpses are buried side by side. Sometimes a living woman vows her life to a man who died years earlier. These ceremonies have nothing to do with romance. They aren't even about grief. They are a ruthless mechanism for control, inheritance, and keeping the family name alive. You might think death ends a family's obligations. In this system, it doesn't. Because here, a ghost without a wife is a bloodline without a future. To understand why families go to such extreme lengths, you have to look at the invisible hierarchy they are trapped in. In traditional Chinese belief, the afterlife is a strict mirror of the living world. The dead are not gone. They expect their place in the ancestral order to remain intact. This creates a massive problem for an unmarried son. In this hierarchy, he isn't just a tragedy, he is a threat. A ghost without a spouse is believed to wander alone, resentful, volatile, and dangerous. When crops fail, businesses collapse, or sudden illness strikes, families don't blame bad luck. They blame the ancestors. It becomes a form of absolute spiritual extortion. The belief is that an unfinished spirit will sabotage the living until his demands are met. To stop the curse, the family must pay a ransom, and the ultimate currency is marriage. But paying that ransom requires a sacrifice, and the true cost of this system falls entirely on the living. The wedding looks real enough. Guests arrive, incense curls through the air. The family lays out food and offerings, but at the center of it all, there is no groom. Just a framed photograph or a wooden spirit tablet standing where his body should be. When the bride bows to that tablet, the contract is sealed. She is now the legal widow of a man who is already in the grave. From that moment, her entire life is rerouted. She moves into his parents' house as his wife. She serves his family. She carries his surname. But the man she is bound to will never speak, never touch her, never even stand beside her. On paper, the system calls her protected. In reality, she has become a tool, because this marriage is not about her. It is about manufacturing heirs for a dead man. Anthropologists have seen this playbook before. Among the Nuer people of South Sudan, a dead man can also marry through a living proxy, so that any children born later are legally registered as his. A living body is used as a vessel to keep a dead man's name alive. In ghost marriages like this, the logic is brutally similar. In some of these arrangements, she adopts a nephew from his relatives. The boy takes the dead husband's name, inherits his property, and performs his ancestral rites. In others, if she has children later with a living partner, the law and the family can still register those children as belonging to the dead husband. His bloodline continues, even though he never lived to see a wedding day. The result is brutal and efficient. The family keeps its property. The surname survives. The dead man gets heirs. And the woman? She spends her life married to a photograph, while her body and future are quietly redirected to serve a man who is no longer here. Which raises a massive, uncomfortable question. Why would any living woman agree to walk into this trap? The answer is all about the money. To understand the woman's choice, you have to look at how the system is rigged against her. In traditional structures, an unmarried daughter has no permanent place. If she dies single, she is often barred from her own family's ancestral shrine. Ghost marriage offers a cold, calculated loophole. By marrying a dead man, she buys her way into a legally recognized lineage. Once the ceremony is complete, the machinery of inheritance clicks into gear. As the official widow, she is granted the right to adopt a nephew from her dead husband's family. Suddenly, she is no longer an outcast. She is the mother of a male heir. This secures her a home, social protection, and total legal claim over the dead man's estate. It's a brutal trade-off. She surrenders her freedom to a corpse, just to lock down the family wealth and guarantee her own survival. You might assume this kind of calculated survival tactic vanished decades ago, but the system didn't disappear. It just modernized. If you think ghost marriages belong entirely to dusty village history, look at Malaysia in 2024. Yang Jingqiu and Li Hongping were engaged to be married. Weeks before their wedding, a horrific car crash claimed both their lives. For most cultures, the story ends there, a tragic accident. But in this belief system, the spiritual paperwork still had to be filed. Instead of a standard double funeral, their families staged a full ghost wedding. Even in a modern, industrialized nation, the rules of the ancestors held absolute power. The families refused to let them enter the afterlife unmarried. It proves a chilling reality about this tradition. The system demands that the lineage must be completed. But what happens when it isn't a son who dies single? What happens when a family is cursed by an unmarried daughter? In this rigid ancestral structure, a deceased, unmarried daughter is a terrifying liability. Because she has no husband, she belongs nowhere. She cannot be buried in her own family's ancestral tomb. She is effectively locked out of the afterlife, becoming what is known as a hungry ghost. And a hungry ghost brings misfortune. If her living brothers fall ill, or if the family business suddenly tanks, she is the prime suspect. The family believes her unquiet spirit is punishing them for her isolation. They must get rid of her spirit to protect the living. She has to be married off, fast. But evicting a ghost requires a very specific and very expensive transaction. To cure the curse, the family must buy her a dead husband. This desperate need creates a massive ghost economy. The family of the dead bride must locate the family of a dead, unmarried man and negotiate a union. But because the groom's family holds the power to take her in, they demand a massive payout. Families are forced to pay staggering dowries, sometimes reaching up to 400,000 rupees, just to arrange the match. They are paying a premium to get her name onto someone else's ancestral tablet. It is a massive financial hit, paid entirely in fear. And once the deal is struck, the families don't just sign a paper. They have to build an entire world from scratch. With the 400,000 rupee dowry paid, the families must now furnish the couple's afterlife. During the ceremony, they construct massive, intricate paper effigies, 3-story paper mansions, luxury cars, paper servants, stacks of counterfeit hell money. Everything a wealthy couple would need to survive the afterlife is recreated in paper. And then, they burn it all in a massive pyre. In the living world, it's just ash, but in the spiritual ledger, the transaction is complete. The daughter is legally married off, the ransom is paid, and the living family is finally safe from her wrath. Which leaves one last disturbing question. What is this really about? Love for the dead, or terror of being erased by them? So the next time you hear the phrase ghost marriage, remember what it really represents. A culture trying to solve the oldest human fear, not death itself, but being forgotten after it. Because in these traditions, marriage is not just about love, it is about memory. About family lines stretching across generations, even when one partner has already crossed into the world of the dead. Parents are not just marrying off corpses, they are buying protection from oblivion, paying in rupees, paper mansions, and the lives of the living, just to make sure a name does not vanish from a stone tablet. And that leaves one final unsettling question. Is ghost marriage the most disturbing marriage tradition on Earth? Or is it simply another way humans refuse to let the people they love disappear forever? If you want to see how far other cultures will go to control sex, marriage, money, and even the dead, smash the subscribe button. Because these systems don't stop just because someone dies. And neither do the stories.